about you and Pat. I mean, that was a weird time for music, 79 to 80. It was the
Correct.
classic rock changing of the gods into the world of MTV. You got to taste both barrels of,
Correct. Well, there was what you're not including is that break from the disco world, because the disco in
right?
78, 79 was so still there. And people were talking, disco's not going away. And it's like, this is something's off here, right?
In the hot seat on Artist on Record, today we have Neil Giraldo, musician, songwriter, guitarist, rock and roll Hall of Famer.
And we had a real struggle trying to get the record played, the first record Patricia and I did. And it was just a disc jockey in upper state, the Northwest, Seattle area, Portland, that decided to play Heartbreaker. When
Really?
everybody else said there's too much guitar on it, they wouldn't play it, right? So they were the ones that cracked it open, and then people were saying, "Wow, I like that." And then we went up there, started playing right away, and it just exploded from there. And then and after that, then we released "We Live for Love," which is the very first song I wrote for us, Patricia and I. And 100 songs later, here we are. So it's things worked
Wow.
out.
Well, I didn't know you guys had a hard time cracking it out the gate at first with that.
Well, yeah, not before we went on the road,
Yeah.
but just trying to get a record, trying to get a song out there. They released 3 other songs and they did nothing. But then Heartbreaker hit, and then Seattle, like I said, in Oregon and Washington would play it. And then other people started playing around the country. And then, yeah, see, normally guitar solos were in the middle of songs, right?
Yeah.
But that's not what I wanted to do. At the end of it, I wanted to say, if she's going to say Heartbreaker, I'm going, yeah, well, here we come. And then I'm going to rip that solo at the end. And what happened is in the beginning, and not a lot of people would play the end solo
Hmm.
around the country. Then all of a sudden they started playing it and they weren't afraid of having more guitar. And that sort of broke us open.
I remember when that song came out, it was just heavy for that moment. And then you got this girl that's like, whoa, that guitar, for everybody watching, I'm going to put 4 seconds here because of copyright strikes. Here you go. Listen to it. Bam. Heavy. I remember it felt like the wind because back then I'd sit in my house with headphones and really crank it up. So cool. And
Sure.
hold the vinyl albums back then. It was
Well, part of the, part of what I've become as a musician is I knew at a very young age, when I was about 5 or 6 years old, I heard, I'll get to what I'm talking about here, Heartbreak Hotel by Elvis Presley, because my mother loved Elvis, right?
Well, since my baby left me.
So I sit in front of the hi-fi and I turn it up really loud. And as a little kid, like 5 or 6 years old, I'm listening to this bass thunder and I'm listening to sparseness and I'm walking down Lonely Street, the Heartbreak Hotel. And as a producer, as a kid, I'm thinking, why does that vocal sound so good? And what's that sound on that, which is a reverb? How are they constructing that? And I remember very clearly what that was.
Heartbreak Hotel, where you will be alone.
So the process goes, so now I'm making records with Patricia and with Rick as well. So everything is about not the individual instrument, but it's about the whole song structure, right? So if I have to go to the guitar, and meanwhile I call guitar because my Uncle Sam would come into my house, Nilo, it was suona la chitarra per me. I go like this, un giorno, zio Sam. I say, one day. So, I thought, Patricia, it's Heartbreaker. Let me take that same note and I'm going to continue that melody on out because we're really pissed. And here we go.
Well, I found a new place to dwell.
You're a heartbreaker, dream maker, love taker, don't you mess around.
Right, so I did that a lot. But anyway, that's just from a guitar player's perspective, right?
wow.
From that.
That's pretty cool.
And that was live. The solo was live. And that's why it ends the way it kind of does. But I played it as an overdub in the studio, in the control room, with a bunch of people. I just invited a bunch of people that were at the studio. I said, just come on in. I'm going to do this solo. A couple takes, and then that was it. I wanted to have, people around. It's kind of exciting having people.
It's almost like a show. When you listen to that track, especially that track, right, today, now looking back, because would I change anything or this and that? What goes on in Neil's head when you're listening to that track? I
Well,
mean,
first of all, when you hear it, other than the, what you're on vinyl or something, but if you hear it on the radio with the compression and everything going on, it's exciting. But the thing that's interesting about it too is that starts with thunder drums, obviously, but then it rocks, but it's not like metal, and it's not that. It's sort of a cross between like new wave, and it was not quite that what you would call that type of rock, right? But it elevates. So when it gets to the with the multi vocals and then the guitar solo at the end, then it goes into this other place, right? So the whole idea is I love intros and outros. So when you get to that end, it's got you fired up. So what you do, if you put it back on the record again, you're going to hear, so it has you in the same place that you ended the song in. I got you there, right? So
what guitar did you record that on that
I
track?
I was using a Strat, and I just used, see, most of my gear was with Derringer still, because I still had a connection to Rick, though Patricia and I, when we met, and the record company introduced me to her, that's a long story, but that's all going to be in the book. It's too long to talk about that story. But when we met, basically it was, I want you to meet this singer. If you two get along and you both see what's happening and you're willing to be partners on this, would you be interested? So it's, in other words, I'm looking to see what she was about and then she's looking to see what I'm about. And we realized that we had this severe, like this great connection musically. I mean, as soon as we started playing, it was just like automatic. And the interesting thing was the record company guy that put it together. I'll just take a step back for a second. When I was with Derringer, because Mike Chapman was going to produce 4 songs. Mike Chapman produced Rick Derringer's record before I joined the Rick Derringer band. So he saw us play live. And so he told the record company, listen, I found this young kid, well, I was only 22 at the time, this young kid who understands song structure. He knows he can play multiple instruments, but he really understands song structure. He's young, he writes, he does all these things. Why don't you see, maybe you could hook him up with Patricia? And that's how that went. So during our get together, and we play a little bit, the person that put it together he's standing between Patricia and I, and he tells me about 10 years ago, he goes, I felt the electricity between you two. He goes, I never told you this. He goes, but I knew you two were perfect for each other, and this thing was going to blast off and be unbelievable. He knew that, but I said, why didn't you tell me then? Why did you wait this long, you chooch? But that's the power. Yeah, it was undeniable.
You have a rock and roll love story too. It's so wild. Here you are, you're coming from Rick Derringer's world, right? First time seeing Pat, did your heart go boom, boom, boom? I mean,
no, it was a little different. It was different than that but the only thing that resonated, which was very strange, you'd have to have about 3 weeks conversations to really understand the spiritual connection to this, because it's really something that's it is just hard to even fathom that would be. But the first thing I kind of said when I saw her is I thought to myself, where have you been? Like, where have you been? On all levels, musical, personal, everything. So it was like I was there to put this thing together, to be partners. And then I could pick musicians. They basically said, you could do whatever you want. Whatever you want to do. That's what the record company said. It's all yours. You too. Whatever you do want to do, you could do. So we were like this serious partnership already. I never intended to go back to Rick. But I left, go answer your question, I left all my gear with Rick. So I just got rented guitars and rented amps, and I did that record, the first record with. Because I just plugged and played, turned the amp up all the way and go. So I didn't.
Was Rick saying, hey man, are you going to come back ever?
Well, he did. I actually played the Heat of the Night record for Johnny Winter and I came back because I was living in New York. I came back and I played some of the record for Johnny, and he just said, "That's great, man. That's great." I go, "Yeah, thanks. I feel good about that." And Rick did ask me back. I said, "Rick, no, this is I always wanted to have something to start from. This is my band. I've been accepted in this organization. This is us. This is what I am." And he was super cool about it. And then again, people always tell you this years later that we were on this boat cruise. There's this thing which I'll never probably do. I shouldn't say never, but boy, I hated it. It was horrible being on a boat.
I hate cruises,
No,
but
it's just terrible.
yeah.
But I saw Rick was on it, and he says, "I want to tell you this. I never told you this before." I says, "What is it?" He goes, "You were the same age as as Rick's talking. You were the same age as I was when I joined the Johnny Winter and band. So I was 20, he was 22 joining Johnny, and I was 22 joining Rick."
Wow.
Because I asked him, I said, "Why did you pick me? You auditioned 200 guitar players. What are you, nuts? Who could do that?" I mean, I'd be, there's no way I can do that.
Yeah.
22 guitar players. That's 200 guitar players. That's insane. I never thought I'd get the gig, but I got it. Again, for the same reasons it worked with Patricia. I knew song structure. I can write songs. I can play, Johnny Winter. And if you notice, there was, they did a lot of Jerry Lee Lewis stuff. They did a mashup like that. So we would do stuff like that live. I'd play piano. And I played more piano on the Guitars of Women record that I did before I met Patricia than I played guitar on. I had more piano on Guitars of Women.
Wow. When was the last time you spoke to Rick?
Probably, I don't know, 6 months before he passed.
Oh, he passed, huh?
Yeah, because I have a Christmas record. I'm working on a holiday record, and I had a song I was writing for him, and I wanted him to write it together with me. And then I got the bad news. So
Yeah.
I don't know what.
Unfortunate. What a rock and roll legend that man was, and his music will live on.
Yeah, beautiful guy, man. Without him, he's one of the five. There's five people that make a serious impact on your life. He was one of them. He had the faith in me, and he was my mentor. I watched everything he did.
Yeah. Walking into that room when you first met him, when you tried out for as a young kid, huh? Practicing, did you go and did you have to learn 3 songs, but you learned 10? What was the whole deal?
Of course. Yeah, I learned everything I could. Yeah, I had an audition. I went twice. I went first, and just walking in the room, and I just go, "Fuck, there he is. Wow, that's fucking heavy," and shook his hand. I said, "Yeah." And I remember I had the same shoes as the bass player, and I go, "Dude, you got the same shoes as me." He goes, "Yeah, that's pretty cool." And then I plugged in, and we just started playing. And then he goes, "Would you come back?" I says, "Sure. What do I have to do?" He goes, "You said you write. Do you have any material?" I go, "I'll tell you what. I'll go home and I'll write you a song. And I'll have it and I'll bring it back. Anything you want." He goes, "I'll call you." And then he called me. I went back a week later, and then I got the gig. But again, this is in the book too, but it's more exposed and more loaded, right? So there's this guy that walked out of the rehearsal, SIR, comes out. He's got black leather jacket, black pants, studs, hair, perfect hair, dude, this guy, rock star,
Johnny Bravo.
Oh my God, unbelievable. He says, and here I am, I got a pair of jeans, a rope belt, like Jethro from the Beverly Hillbillies, a rope belt, a white t-shirt, white slip-on sneakers. My hair's a mess. I have an SG, my only guitar. And he goes, "Hey kid, how are you?" I go, "Good." I heard him through the wall. I'm thinking, "Oh man, this guy's tremendous." And I go, "I'm Neil Giraldo. I'm from Cleveland." He goes, "Great. I'm from here. My name is Rudy Valentino." I go, "Rudy Valentino, not Rudolph, Rudy Valentino." I went, "Holy shit, I don't have a chance." So I went in, and then years later, I do a speaking engagement I'm talking at. A guy comes up to me afterwards. He goes, "You've told that story about Rudy Valentino." He goes, "I know the guy." I go, "You know Rudy Valentino?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "You know what? He's bald now." I says, "Damn, I'm glad Rick didn't like him because, man, I thought he played great. He had everything. And here I am, this scrawny little kid from Cleveland.
Yeah.
You know, it was a surreal moment. Yeah.
I would like to see a photo of Rudy Valentino. There's a lot of Rudys in the world like that. A lot of Valentinos at the Rainbow Bar and Grill too.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, yeah. Rudy Valentino. So I remembered it so well. It was funny. And I told Rick later, I just laugh at him. I go, 200 guitar players. Come on, man. Are you out of your mind?
Any guitar players that you beat out that the world would know? Any big names? No, you don't
No,
know.
because I didn't. I was too. I was only in there for the moment. The only thing that I did know is a player that was in my band in Cleveland that auditioned, and he never told me.
Really?
He just went up there and did it. I never knew he even auditioned. I asked the band if it was okay for them. I says, you guys, do you think are you okay if I got an audition? They said, oh, absolutely. I wish you the best. I said, well, thanks, guys. I wanted to wait to see if it was okay with them. And it was okay.
And the same band member said, okay. He goes, yeah, no.
And I saw him up there, and I couldn't, the second time, and I couldn't believe it. I was actually in the same hotel with him. They put us in the same room. And when I got the call when I'm in the room, the hotel, the phone rang. It was like, the manager, hi, it's Steve Paul. I want to thank you for coming out. Rick really enjoyed you coming out. We just really appreciate what you did, and thank you very much. And could you just come down to Rick's flat and just say hi to him or whatever? And I said, okay. And hung up, and I looked at this friend of mine. I went, you got the gig, bro. And I don't have it. And I was really sad. Yeah, I was really upset. And I drove down. I got there in the cab, got down there, I knocked on the door. Rick opens the door. He looks like he has a little buzz, gets smoking. He goes, hi, you want to join the band? I go, what? And then we ended up playing guitars for 2 hours. He gave me his Explorer, his Super Explorer. And I'm going, Rick, my eyes are really bad. I got really good ears. My eyes are bad. I says, you don't want me to play this guitar, man. And then we just played for a couple hours, man. It's great.
Wow. That was the key to open up your whole world of where you are today. Huh.
And then I went back to the hotel and threw up because
Did you really?
Yeah. I was so the emotion was so high. It was incredible. So,
it's so great to hear the story and hear the way you were thinking. Cause now I'm sure there's people or whoever auditions for your band, they probably get the same feeling. Oh,
yeah.
There's Neil,
Yeah.
You ever go to anybody? Go, don't worry, kid. I've been where you're at. And I understand. I
do. I do all that. I try to do it right away in the very beginning. I don't want them to feel nervous or bad. I tell anybody if they're audition, I said, you're a great player coming in here. If it works out, it's only because it's special for what we need. But other than that, you're a great player. If you leave, you're a great player. It's nothing against you. So, make everybody feel comfortable.
Hey, let me tell you, Neil, you're one of those cats that are up there with those guitarists that made a sound, that made a movement, that made a change. And I know because I could tell the type of guy. You're a shy, humble guy, but let me kiss your ass a little bit while you're here. But it's true, and you deserve the credit because a lot of people out there, they don't get the credit they deserve. And I'm sure you hear it on the radio, and sometimes you probably sit back and say, "Man, I can't believe that's me. I can't believe." You ever get
all the time. I still do it. I still do it.
Does Pat get like that too? Does she get one of those?
Yeah, she does too. I mean, sometimes I'll hear something on the radio or a store somewhere, and you listen and go, "That's pretty damn good." And then you listen and go, "Oh shit, it's us." It's like.
Make sure to go in our description down below to check out 3 Chord and My Grandma and Grandpa Rock, a new book by Neil and Pat. Join us in Members Only. You can catch this episode right now unedited. And make sure to check out the podcast streaming on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Music. Until then, we'll catch you all later. We have more of my conversation coming your way with Neil, so don't forget to subscribe and hit that notifications tab so you don't miss it. Now click here for our next episode. Who loves you, baby? We do. Thanks for watching.